Hello, hello. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, you guys. Welcome to From Startup to Takeover with Kim and Latrice. Hello, Kim. How are you?
Good. And making it. How about you?
Same. No complaints. How was your day today?
I didn't really do too much. I've been a little bit off for the last 2 days trying to get back on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So not too much. Not too much. Just trying to
Yes.
get it back together. How about you?
Well, I'm excited. One of my babies came home last night,
Oh, yay.
and no one knew but me.
Okay.
So for
Surprise.
everybody else, it was a surprise. Yeah, he
Wh-
finished his tech school, um, and then his brother will be here a little bit later in the month. So they will be home at the same time for just a little bit. I think they cross about almost a week and a half before the first one that came home last night. He head on out to go overseas for 2 years. hmm
Mhm.
But yeah,
Ooh.
super duper excited. I
I
was
know.
telling my baby that there's a surprise for the family. Child, he thought it was a toy, and then
No.
I didn't tell her what it was. I just kept telling him it was. I said it's for the whole family though. It's not a toy. And then he was like, it was, and said I was like, yeah. He'd been following him all
Oh,
around the house.
been coming all day.
Girl, last night, this morning, poor thing, my child can't breathe because his baby
I,
brother
I
everywhere
know
he
you.
go.
I know you're happy, and
Oh
especially
yeah.
when all of them are there together. All
hmm
the babies.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Wow,
it's
that's good.
exciting right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I did my
So,
usual, went out to my garden. I'm so mad because I've eaten up all my cucumbers that was ready. There's like 8 growing, but they're not quite ready yet. So
oh,
I didn't get to get any out of the garden, but I'm watching them.
nothing
Um,
else.
oh yeah, I get the green beans. To me, I love cucumbers, girl. So, but
Um,
so I got some green beans today. I made what I made earlier, like a green bean soup. I did it with green beans, some cilantro, some basil, green onion, and I did it in like a chicken broth
mm-hmm. What you
and boiled
boiled
a
it?
couple of eggs. Hmm.
Boiled it all together?
Uh huh. Yep. Yep.
Eggs as well?
Well, so what I do is I boil my eggs in a separate thing, and then I put the boiled egg in there to get the seasoning
Oh,
at the
okay.
end. At the end. Yep.
Like they do the shrimp or the crab boil.
Yeah,
If-
pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes,
okay. I'm
ma'am.
gonna have to try that. I bet it's good. The seasoning, the
Oh,
flavor.
yeah, girl. So I love using the basil because it makes everything that I cook taste so
Mm-hmm.
fresh. It has a fresh flavor. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I did. And
I'm gonna
then I
start.
worked on a little stuff. Huh?
I'm gonna start cooking with basil.
Yeah, it makes everything taste fresh, man. It's just really,
Mm-hmm.
really good. Hmm.
You did
So
some
that was
work.
my day. That was my day. So, guys,
That was
today is
good.
episode 36, where we
Mhm.
are wanting to discuss our choices in life today. Careers, cash, and choices. The bag versus babies? Are we foregoing?
Hmm.
I don't. Should I say family? Yeah, because even if you're a single parent with children, it's still a family. So are we foregoing families for money?
Hmm. What do
What
you
are your
think?
thoughts on that, Kim?
What's your view?
I think it's a huge issue. I think that people are, and it seems to be men and women are choosing to go after career
Hmm.
um, versus a family, right? Whereas I think, yeah, they should get themselves together, understand who they are in that aspect, not necessarily money. I think when we make money, the absolute most important thing in our lives, we get in trouble. It's
Right.
not that we don't need it because we all know we need money to live. It's making it a priority. And then, I'm a woman who had a baby at an older age. It wasn't my first one though. But I think also by foregoing having children at later stages in life, you do run into issues, possibly,
Hmm.
it increases. So I think they have to think about that part as well.
Hmm.
But I think we're so far removed from what's the best way
Cool.
to God's way
Cool.
of living,
Yeah,
the right thing to do, that we're just following everybody else and what they're doing.
that's
That's
right.
what I think. That's what I think is happening.
Yeah, and the careers you're saying, I think today in today's climate, the careers and the bag, it's like something different to me because in a career when we were working and doing things, we were going for a career. We had to work and get, build up, work for years. You call it a career, you're retired of it. Versus now they're going to get the bag and they're getting it quickly over the internet. They're getting bags. That's not a career because this could be gone. That could be gone in a flash. Even though careers are gone in a flash right now because they're being taken.
Well, I think getting a bag is the same as a career. Like, well, I tie it the same, right? Because it's about getting money. Getting the bag is about getting money. So
Mm-hmm.
people chasing careers is about the money aspect because I feel it's coming from not having, I'm sorry, where I go. It's come
It's
from
okay.
not having men in our
Mm-hmm.
lives consistently
It's
or
hard
to
for
a
you to
point
say that, huh?
well, what I mean by that is it because I keep going to it, right?
Yeah,
And
that's the
and
only
I
way to
don't
go.
want to sound like a broken record,
Mhm,
but I feel that women are chasing that because the men are not in a position
mhm,
where we say they're supposed to be. Um, and that's overall. I'm not even talking about how much money they make. And I think
mhm,
men tie that to how much money they make.
mhm.
No, we can't depend on them, is where I think the chasing the bag comes into play.
Yeah,
Because
but
if I feel we could depend on the men, then we wouldn't be so much out here as far as chasing a career and feeling we have to so that we can take care of our children.
and I can believe that as well because I feel like some women, some of us, we want to go get the bag, even with a spouse or a significant other. And some are just wanting maybe just for that significant other to go and get the bag and they stay at home and take care of home. I don't see that too much. I don't know if it's like you say, the worldly thing, people are following what the world is doing instead of the word.
Right. Right. Yeah, because there are some women who are married, right? And they're chasing um their career, but I still feel that's because the lack of dependency upon who the spouse is. Because most men who are out here, this the unfortunate part where they're chasing the dollar and they're
Mhm.
really okay. A lot of the women aren't working. That's
You
why
said
I feel the ones who are married who's chasing that career is because they don't feel they can depend on that man. It's not stable, right?
right.
And that's because not the dollar amount, the relationship isn't stable. That's
And that's
that's
what
why I'm saying it's not
that's
really
right.
about the
Yep.
dollar. It's really about the position of the man, which
And
again,
And the man want the woman, they're wanting a woman now to come in 50-50,
They
so.
are, and what I don't like is they keep trying to use the economy as an excuse. Well, no one's
Mhm,
telling you that you have to live this luxurious, lavish life. You're chasing after what other people want. Now, if you just want it, that's fine. Then you got to strive for that and understand that comes with time. That
the career, yes.
yeah, that oh, I want it and I want it right now is
Mhm,
I think what's getting people in trouble because I think we should want to grow with each other. You shouldn't have to be already financially stable. I
mm-mm,
don't get this thing of, well, he should already be financially stable. Brother, you don't want nobody to grow with you. You have to be careful when you're already successful. Why is that person in your life? And it's going to really be hard to know. You're just taking a risk because you really don't know why that person is in your life. They're telling you that and they could be making you feel that way because we fool people all the time. People on
mhm,
people, right? We fool each other all the time. So I don't see nothing wrong with you guys growing together, right? Versus he's got to be already put together and then you just get to hop in, meaning the woman come in on the back end and reap all the benefits. I don't agree with that either. I think families should be started um at a younger age, but grow together, the husband
mhm,
and the wife.
mhm,
Because the wife is going to be helping that man build, and that man's going to be helping that wife build. Because you can also have a career, it don't necessarily have to be away from the home. It's so many different ways how we can have a career
mhm,
and take care of children. But
mhm,
but the man and the wife also got to the man and the woman also have to decide if they want children, right? Because there are
right.
families where the man and the woman don't even want children. So then theirs may look a little bit different. Um, but I don't think women really just out here wanting to be the boss of everything.
I don't think they do as well, but because of the situations and the circumstances of the relationship, and the
Yep.
man wants you to buy them this, and they want you to look like the Joneses, and come in with this and that.
But
Women,
then then that's different from what the marriage unit is really supposed to be about, right? So
that's
then that's going to send you down a different path. Then you are going to have it where the woman is really trying to be the head of her business, you the head of your business, and I'm sorry, but then they're going to get into who's raising your children.
right.
It
That's
is
why. It's,
who's raising your children if y'all are both
it's,
bosses and away from the home, right? Because
mhm,
someone can be the boss at the house. And
mhm,
if you can run your career or your business that way, then yeah, you can still take care of your children because that does happen. But if both of you are outside of your home, your children are going to go from daycare centers, or if you make enough money, in-home nanny, to now then the school system's going to have them all day.
mhm.
You're not really raising your children.
Yeah. So how do we turn that around? Not saying you and I, but
The conversation. See, I
the.
think because I know the last time you said, well, we got to do more than talk. I think we have to repeatedly talk, right? People
Mhm,
have to hear stuff over and over again because we're not all around each other, right?
right.
So I think what has to happen is we have to always have the conversation, and we have to have the conversation with the opposite sex,
Mhm.
and we're going to have to stay on repeat. And it's the same as with the women, trying to find out, getting into their mind why. And I do feel that it's going to be because my dad taught me independency. You see what I'm saying? My mother and my father was together, but he was teaching me to be independent.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Every parent teaches their children to be independent.
No, I don't think every.
You
No,
don't?
I don't think
Right.
every parent teaches. There are some young women who are taught to go and find a husband, be ready for her. No, I don't. I don't think they're taught to be in. Everybody's not taught to be independent. And I think what happened was, at some point, it did shift to
Mhm.
where a lot of us was taught to be independent, but I think they didn't understand why they started pushing that, and it was men pushing it too. It wasn't
Yeah.
just women get a bad rep. You will hear them say, yeah, their mother, their aunts, their grandmothers was teaching them to go out here and be independent. And wait a minute now, you got some 2-parent households, and these men was telling their daughters to go and be independent. And that's the reason behind it. I can't tell you that they were doing a deep dive or explaining to their daughters why they were telling us that, but they were. And I think it was because the men were not dependable.
Right. And
They
I
knew
was
that
about,
they knew they weren't.
yep. And that's what they saw. Just
Mhm.
say, just for us as an example, we're raising our kids single. Not saying we did, but we were. And they saw us working. So we're teaching them to be independent women and men because they're seeing just that one parent doing it. So I,
Well, but just be so well, just because you're living a certain way doesn't mean that's what you're teaching. Because even with me being single in between my marriage, I didn't teach my children, my daughter, that. Right?
I, I didn't either, but I'm saying
Okay.
they saw it. We were being independent. So, oh, I see my mom being independent. She's not worried about caring about any man taking care of us or trying to take care of us. And she just showing me how to go out here and be the
But that's
independent.
why even if we're in those situations, we have to talk to our children. We have
Right.
to teach them that just because this is our current situation, we have to be okay to say, due to my mistakes or whomever, this is not how it should be. We have to
Mm-hmm.
be open to that. Just because your children see you live in a certain way does not mean that's what you're teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
You can also, you can be living a way, but starting to teach them the right way. But that comes with being vulnerable. That comes with being open. That comes taking the gloves off, just saying, this is where I made the mistake at. This is
Mm-hmm.
why you don't need to take this path. So let me tell you, let me show you, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think the grandmothers, the uncles, the grandfathers, when it comes to the young ladies, the mothers, they were telling us young women this because a lot of us got hurt, broken, and they didn't want their daughters to fall into the same thing.
Right.
So what happened was it wasn't to be nasty. It was, you may need to do this or you need to do this in case. But on the other hand, they weren't, I feel, teaching the young man who they were supposed to be so that the women can fall into place with the man in the home. It wasn't being taught on both ends. I don't even know if the young men were truly being taught.
I can
I
agree
don't
with,
know. I don't know.
yeah, they maybe being taught to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But I don't think being really, really taught, like, you
To be
know,
a husband,
be a husband,
be a
get if you
father.
have a wife, yeah, a father, your
Yeah.
wife, a kid, you take care of
Yeah.
home, you
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
you be the head of the household. It
Yeah.
wasn't, you know, a lot of that wasn't going on. So,
Yeah. I
or I,
think they weren't because they wouldn't be in the street as much. So
mhm,
they weren't teach. I feel like our young men, and I'm talking about even me and my age, when I go
mhm,
backwards, they could not have been taught during that time because the numbers was too big, right?
mhm,
For them
mhm,
to be in the street life. Someone had to be, I'm sorry, overworked. And
yep,
that could be the father and the mother in a 2-parent household, right? Both working, not no one at home with the children after school. The kids are coming home. We were latchkey kids, right? So I
mhm,
think what was happening was the overwork affected teaching,
mm,
because just because you're living with someone doesn't mean they're teaching you anything. You're
that's
going to
right.
be learning stuff, what to do, what not to do, but it doesn't mean someone was actually talking to you, teaching you, training you up on how you should be as a male and as a female.
That's
So I
right. As
think the
it should go.
unfortunate part, yeah, I think the unfortunate part came with that, was the overwork, and now it's an overdrive. It's an
Mhm.
overdrive. I just
So,
think women are trying to protect themselves, and it's getting out of hand.
and that's why I try to turn things around by when I'm talking and, you know, conversating with women and men as well. I will go to the Bible. I will talk about the word, not pick up the Bible literally and put it in their face. No, because I feel like if you're, learning the Bible, whatever, it should be like a computer. It should be already in you and you needed it to come up. So
Mhm,
I always talk of what I've read, what I believe, and what I've read, what I've actually read and
mhm,
understand.
mhm,
I'll go to that now
mhm,
to
mhm.
change the dynamic from what it were to what it should be, what the word said it should be, what the Lord, what Jesus said it should be, because it's his world. So what he
Right.
said it should be. And a lot of people sometimes they don't take that because people don't believe the word.
Correct. Absolutely. They're too far gone. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
They're too far gone because we have pastors for years. This isn't
Mm-hmm.
new.
Mm-hmm.
Just not really practicing the life that they're talking about. You know,
Yes.
one of the things I remember I used to say to my dad, I'm like, it's like people don't people people like playing with God. They don't believe
Yeah.
what they're
I
reading.
say that all the time. Never.
Yeah.
And I've been studying, I've been reading, and I wasn't even reading what I got to that will go with what we're talking about today. God just gave it to me because I'm always like, Lord, if you want me to hear something, let me hear. Give me the word. Let me have the word. And the word was Timothy 1, First Timothy 1, and it was saying, no, First Timothy in 6. And it was saying, I don't know where he gave it to me from. It just was like read First Timothy in 6, and it was saying stop laboring to be rich, stop trying to run after wealth, and stop trying to be, it's like greed. If I want you to read it, it was just saying that. It was saying that God gives us everything to make us happy. And don't
Hmm.
run after that, run after him. It was
Hmm.
just talking to me, just saying that. It was saying that to me for a reason, because of something I was been praying and saying. And it was like, no, stop wanting to you just be so rich. Stop wanting to be so wealthy. I
Hmm.
got you. It was literally saying that to me, that God give us everything to make us happy.
Right. It does. And I think the problem is a lot of people don't care about um what we say the right way to live is, right? There are
Right.
so many different religions out here, um, that a lot of people don't know what to believe.
Right.
And they see a lot of people talking the talk, but they're not walking it walk
That's right.
because it's not an easy path to
Mm-hmm.
choose,
Because
especially go ahead.
there's no trust in the word.
Right. And so it's like, how do we get them to believe? You know what I mean? You know how people say you got to get your own. This is what I taught my children. You have to have your own personal relationship with God. I taught
Mm-hmm.
my children at a very early age, very early.
I
You
as
go in
well.
that closet and you pray to God one
But
on one.
I
Let
used to
that be
take
between,
it.
like let that be between you and God. I
Yeah.
don't need to know what that is. You go
Mhm.
have that one on one. I taught them at a very young age because it's
That's
going to be
it.
a personal
Yes.
relationship and it's not about perfection. I'm not saying that in this process you're not going to make mistakes, but you know who you are and you know who to
That's
go
right.
to and you know how to go there.
That's
Now
right.
what I'm doing, because I'm telling you, I'm recently coming upon this deep dive of truly learning what we call the proper way, God's way of living. That
Mm-hmm.
wasn't truly taught to me. I didn't really know what it meant to what I should be looking for in a husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
thought that because I got a good heart. I believe in Jesus. He believe in Jesus. Oh, I
Yeah.
love him. He loved me. That ain't what that is about.
Yeah.
But
I
I
was in,
didn't
you know,
understand that then, huh?
we were in church all the time because our grandmama was a preacher. I was in church all the time, 24/7, but I never learned anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
That
that's
is
what so I
crazy.
remember I remember
Yeah,
with my sister, I used to say, man, people like going to church to check the box. I never
yeah,
wanted to do that. That's a dangerous thing. That's what I call playing with God. They'll check
yes.
that box, and as soon as they leave church, man,
It's something, but
it's gone
you
out
were
the
back to
window.
life. You
It's
were
gone
back
out.
to
They
that's
back
right.
to the regular world because
That's right.
um I think mainly because kind of what we tapped into earlier this week was the people who were teaching it and who was going to church wasn't living it. They weren't
Well,
living the
that's
way
right.
that they know biblically it says to live. And so what comes with that is you're raising children now who are looking at you, and it's kind of like, wait a minute
But
now.
see, I think at too, because going to church, I wasn't going being like now. I'm being taught. I'm going. You reading the
That's what I'm saying.
word.
They were preaching, they weren't teaching. Right.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. They were
Yeah, they were
preaching. It was
preachers. Yeah.
So all I got was preaching. You shouldn't do this. Nah, 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 nah.
Hmm.
It was preaching. It wasn't teaching. So I didn't
Hmm.
pick up anything.
Hmm.
Nothing. But I was going to church, and I knew Jesus in the Lord because my grandmama was Jesus in the Lord.
Hmm.
Nothing else.
Right.
Nothing about how to be no wife, or I should be a wife, or what I should be doing with my husband, or
Hmm.
none of that. How money, nothing. How to live, nothing. I was just going to church, hearing preaching. And when you
Right.
came out of church, it was the preacher said this, and you shouldn't be doing that. The preacher was like, if you doing this, you're going to hell. You're this, that. It was totally different from what I have learned in this new era of life, this
Yeah.
new journey.
Yeah.
And
And
now I want to give it. I used to be, when I first started learning, I used to be so fired up. I just was going to everybody and I want to push it in,
girl, ooh,
push it in,
Jesus, yes.
push it in. And God talked to me. He was like,
I
nope,
know he did. That ain't what
no,
he
you
told you
don't.
to do.
That is not, you don't need to push none of my word in no one.
Nope. Mm-mm.
And it would fire me up. I used to get mad because they wouldn't listen, but not now. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
I'm going to let you, I'm going to show you, because I'm not just going to tell you, I'm going to show you where it is. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to accept it, I'm gonna brush you off. Like he said, you don't want to accept it, brush him off and go to the next.
Yeah, that's what, and you know, and because that's what it's about. It's not about you getting the message to them. That
Yeah.
no, because if I think that if we understand that everything we do is for his glory,
Mm-hmm.
then I shouldn't get so upset because you're not receiving something right now, right? I
Right.
remember I had got involved in the church, and I used to always try to stay from getting so deep into it because you
Yeah.
find the ugliness, right? I
Mm-hmm.
like to go to church and leave
Mm-hmm.
because when you get in deep, you find out they are not operating for God. I'm just
Not
saying.
at all.
It's for their own glory. They trying to look good. And I recall one time I just had to walk away. I was like, wait a minute.
I
So
know.
it was I got part of a women's committee, and it was like, y'all not doing this for God. Y'all looking to shine.
It
What
was
in the
click.
I was like, what in the world? And I and
It
I and
was
I did. I
no click.
removed myself.
It
Hmm?
was a lot of clicks in my church time. It was a lot of clicks in the church, and I was in the choir. It was almost fighting in the choir. Like, oh, this is not of God. It was like a
Yeah.
lot.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
it was.
then you have the right to leave, and that's what I did. I've
Mm-hmm.
always left. Let me tell you, even as a child, I was in the choir,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw some stuff,
Yep.
and I was like maybe 10, 11. I hadn't hit middle school yet. I was probably fifth grade because back then, we went to junior high at seventh grade. So I was
Mm-hmm.
probably like fifth grade, and I stopped, and I told my mom why I stopped, and I felt that the church didn't like correcting people. It's like they tried to steer clear. That's why I say Christianity, it leads to all this acceptance when we know it's wrong. Because
Mm-hmm.
because here's the thing. Even though someone is committing adultery, they shouldn't sit in like, well, God just loved me, and I know that this ain't what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm just doing it anyway. No,
I
no,
know.
that's not how
Mm,
they go. Even if you
nope.
are a thief, you
Mhm.
can't walk around and try to say, well, look in your own closet because no, you should be convicted that this is not what you're supposed to be doing. Don't try to act as if what you're doing and how you're living is okay because God gives you grace and he
Mhm.
gives forgiveness. He also tell you how to live.
That's right.
So as a child, I even removed myself from church
Mhm.
because I felt they was afraid to be honest, and it allowed for people just to live how they wanted to live. And
Yeah.
as I say, go in there and play with God. So I've always looked and left. I
Yeah.
did.
I did.
Um,
I was immature, like I told you uh, a few other podcasts, that I was immature to a lot of stuff, and I was still immature to church. I was still immature. I didn't know, and it took me to be grown for something to happen with the pastor to me to make me say, no, that is not God.
Mhm.
And I had to tell the pastor, God didn't send you to me for you to do this. So no, if he wanted to tell me this and do this, he'll tell me himself and convict me himself, not for you to do me like this. So that's how I really tore apart from church after that one incident. That took me right there. And
Mhm.
then after I said what I had to say, and I said, God, that is not God, and God don't gossip, and he don't tell nobody else what he got to tell me. He gonna come tell me what happened. Something happened with that pastor to let them see how you came to me. The same thing happened to you.
Mm.
So so it
Mm.
was, yeah. So
Yeah.
now, yeah, I read for myself because Pastor say, don't take what I say and trust it. Read for
Right. You
yourself.
better be able to find it in that Bible. My
Read
dad
for
taught me that as
yourself.
a teenager, baby. If that
Yeah,
pastor's up there telling you, you better read along with him out that
that's right.
Bible. These
And
people lead you
that's right.
astray, you know.
That's right.
But I think, but that's why I think it's still more than just reading. I think it has to come with the walk.
Mhm.
And it's so hard. The truth is, it's so hard to find that, um, because what is projected out to us is the worldly way of living.
It is.
It is. And so
And no
if
one wants to walk with you with God. I mean, it's probably some people, but what's the percentage you think that
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's
walk
very
with you
small. I think
with
it's very
God?
small, but the Bible tells us that, right? It's gonna be
Yes.
a narrow, it's the narrow path. It's not the wide path, is the wrong way. That's the world way. Everybody's
Yes.
going down that path. And
Yep.
so um, with me
Yep.
being older, I stay on repeat with this. I don't want the same thing for my children, my
Mhm.
grandchildren, my great grandchildren. I want them to wait until they know
Right.
by first following God's way, because
That's right.
I can tell them the world's way will get you what I got. And
Mhm.
I can tell them that without trying to make it sound good, without trying to make it sound bad, just speaking what it is. This
What
is
is it?
not the way. And here I am, late 40s, catching this and like it's blowing my mind. Why wasn't I taught this? And then the other piece, I was like, why couldn't I pull this out myself? And I just didn't. There are God
I
gave us
mean,
all different purposes on this
yeah.
planet. And there are people who caught this early on,
Yes.
13, 14, 15.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
a part of me do go, God, why I didn't catch it? But there was a
Me too.
reason, right? And there
That's
was a reason for that. So I'm okay with that because I have children that I was able to teach this to,
right.
who
Mhm.
don't have children yet, who don't have a spouse yet. So,
Mhm.
okay, God, I can push it to my children so that my generation coming after me and theirs after them will get this and understand this, and I can walk in that walk. Now, it is more challenging because I am already remarried.
Right.
Um, and my husband and we don't necessarily see eye to eye in all aspects of this. And so where here I am looking for, but let me say this. I've always wanted to be one of my husbands to be the head of my household. I have always searched for that. The problem has always been they don't know how to do that. They just didn't, right? So where I'm here like craving that type of leadership, it's almost like they say, well, you left the church to go get someone, you want them to come in the church. That's not necessarily true on my end because he was in the church, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
It's just you have to be taught the right way to live, not just go to church and get preached to.
That's
And
right.
and
Preach.
that's what these preachers are doing. They're preaching and then they're
Yes.
leaving the pulpit and not living what they even preached about. And
That's
and
right.
and the unfortunate part is these men are now over the homes. And so I just want the younger people, or even if you're 40, you have never been married or you're looking to get remarried, try God's way this time around.
Yes. Read, because we perish from the lack of knowledge, and people don't like to read. You need
Well,
to
even
read.
if you read, I think you need a teacher. Think you need somebody
Yeah,
to teach
and
you.
that's what
So
he said.
here's what I would say. Here's what I would say. There's a guy that I like. I read his books. I even listen to his stuff. One of the things I think is important is knowing what a husband should look like.
Mm-hmm.
What does that come with? Because see, you can read, and this is why I say I don't think it's just about reading, because I was one, I read the Bible, right? And you're talking about as even a kid. And that's why I said some people do get it at 13, 14, 15, 20, 22. I wasn't one of those. I was reading it, but I wasn't getting down to the nitty gritty to understand it. It just wasn't. People
But
learn differently.
we we're gonna
That's
have to
what.
dive. We need to dive into this because you know what the word says: when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. It doesn't say when a wife finds a man, she finds a good thing. It said when a man
Right,
finds a wife.
right,
So
right.
he needs it needs to be conversation with men finding the
Yeah.
good finding their wife.
But it does, and I think that's why, remember I was saying I don't know if the men really know whose they are and what they represent. Um anyway,
I
yeah.
know. No,
I
yeah.
mean, I agree. I definitely think that
Yes.
but let me finish saying this. I don't think it's just with reading. I think you have to get someone who's teaching you based off the Bible. Um not
Your
the word,
spirit.
because I mean there are a lot of worldly people out here teaching, and
Mm-hmm.
they're telling you the way to do it the worldly way. I think that has gotten us in a lot of trouble.
That's why you
Again,
have
Dr.
time.
Miles, I'll say there's someone I would definitely recommend. His name is Dr. Miles Monroe. He has books on being a husband, being a wife, being single, choosing to stay single, if you're divorced, if you're widowed, and it's biblically sound. It's not
Mhm.
just an opinion, right? We have to know what we're supposed to look for. And a lot of times when we read, the comprehension doesn't come as clear cut as it does for someone who can pull that thing out. That's why God give everybody different roles. Everybody don't have the same role on this planet.
And that's what
So
we said.
that
Got preachers, teachers, evangelists,
right. So
prophets.
if you find someone that can teach that, that teaches that, or we're talking about, for family, because there are teachers who are teaching other things. They're teaching wealth. They're teaching a whole lot of stuff that is biblical, right?
Yeah.
But when we're talking about family and foundation,
Mhm.
I don't know if you want to give your pastor name, but I know
I
that that's
I
someone
was
who I
about to say it.
definitely
I was about
recommend.
to say it now. I was about to say you can I don't even have to say mine. Just say to know mine. 90, I'm 91 equipped. If you know what that
Well,
means,
just tell them who it is so they can find him. I mean, there's a
Creflo
lot of
Dollar.
people who just don't know.
Creflo Dollar. I've been following
Oh,
him since.
oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes. No, I know people have a bad taste, but no, I don't care. I've been following him since
Well,
my
hold
baby.
on. Why did you say you don't care? What do you mean by you don't care? What
That
do you mean by
people
that?
that people have a bad taste for him because that's
Oh,
their
okay.
fear.
I mean, but
That's
people have a
their,
bad taste about every pastor.
yeah.
Everyone. Every
That's
pastor
their
that's
fear.
out here, people have a bad taste for. Yeah.
But I know what he's taught me. I know he made mistakes. He come back and said he made mistakes. I grew with him all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that his word and how he's teaching it. He's teaching it. He's reading. He
Mm-hmm.
does not read it without us. I mean, he's teaching. He's teaching. He's teaching. He's teaching. And I've learned. And I've learned. That's how I've gotten where I am. That
Mm-hmm.
the word says. I can't say the scripture, but it says. You find you're a spiritual leader and you follow that spiritual leader. That
Mm-hmm.
spiritual leader he
As
has
long as
to
they
be.
ain't sending you to hell. Yeah, you don't did that. Wait a minute
Yeah,
now. I don't
he
think
has
you
to,
just
yeah. I was going to say he has to be of
wait a
God.
minute now.
Yeah, you follow that spiritual leader. If you follow not no bad spiritual leader or whatever, but it's saying, and I can't tell you the scripture, but it says
Yeah, I
you
follow
find you
him on
follow your
Instagram.
spiritual
I
leader.
think it's just Instagram that I follow him on, but I don't follow him. But I used to watch
I've
him,
been with
listen
him
to him
for since the
years ago.
babies, and I
Hmm.
grow. He has me where I am today, and
Hmm.
that's with a relationship with the Father, baby. Not even with him. Never follow a pastor or saying lead to how they're doing. He's my
Hmm.
spiritual leader because he teaches only on God. Family
Hmm.
Foundation. He was back in the day. It was money and stuff, but it was he was teaching
Yeah,
right.
that's when I got away from him though.
Yeah, he
It
was
was a
teaching
little,
about
yeah.
yeah, and
But
everybody.
I mean, I get that no pastor is perfect. Here's so the thing is, I get that no pastor is perfect, but if there were some that was led astray, they had every right to walk away. It just depends on your personal relationship. I don't
Mhm.
believe
That's
you should follow a spiritual leader down into just hell. I
Oh,
don't,
no, never,
because there's a
never.
lot of them
I
out
can
there
do the
doing that.
word. Yeah,
Yeah.
the word said I
Mhm.
can't say the scripture right now because I can't say it in my head, but it says to follow your spiritual leader, and that's
It
my
does.
spiritual
It does.
tolerance
Yeah,
because
but God don't want us to be stupid now.
right,
Yeah, we supposed
I'm
to follow
not
our spiritual leader,
spiritual.
but you better know the spiritual leader that you're following now. Come on.
And if I thought he was taking me in the wrong direction at
Mm-hmm.
this in this day and age, oh, he would have been gone. But no, because I've grown with him. Like I said, I put my children in the closet and taught them how to pray in the closet from him.
Mm-hmm.
From him, everything, the mistakes, the come back from the mistakes, the everything to where I am to now. And he don't care, I don't care if people judge or whatever, because they don't want to hear the word of God. They don't want to hear the real. Ain't no more playing church. I'm none of that. It's over with.
What's over? What are you talking about now? I feel like you went on a
Like
tangent. What now?
playing church, because a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
playing
Unfortunately, you
church.
have a lot of them doing that.
Mhm.
But God tells you, they will save people. Don't necessarily they will be saved. So it's not even. I don't think it's even about perfection. I think a lot of people have to get away from this perfection thing. I don't know of any pastor that don't get any type of negative uh
Well, he get it, he
feedback.
got that.
People eat them up. A lot of people don't
Eat
like
'em up.
pastors for so many different reasons. I don't have nothing to do with that. That ain't my
Me either.
my
I follow
thing.
and get
Yeah.
what I need to get. I talk
Mhm.
to the Lord. And like he said, you make sure you're talking to the God. You make sure
Yep.
you have a relationship with him.
hmm
That's
And
what
make
you do.
sure, and I think one of the I think the biggest thing we need to focus on is our relationship with God as individuals,
That's
and
right.
then as a marriage unit. But I think if you first have got to work on your personal relationship with God, changing who you are as you work on that, and then from there, that family unit.
I
And if
think
you got a pastor that's teaching you and your spouse or your future spouse, teaching on
mhm,
singles, dating as a single, and it's God's way, tap into
mhm,
that. Tap into
mhm.
that. Get in there, work on yourself, so that you can change your family tree. Because I can guarantee you, a lot of you guys can change your bloodline, just like him and I are looking to change our bloodline. It can be done.
Yeah.
It can be
I
done.
think, yeah, I think you should, work on yourself
Yeah.
with the Lord, have your relationship with the Lord, women, and then let the man find you. You've
Yeah.
already had your relationship with the Lord, so when that man finds you, then you can work together. But
hmm
if he's gonna, a man find is a good thing. So he's the man to find you, you're going to be the good thing for him, and it's going to work, come together for the glory of God. That's the only way it's going to work. We're going to have conversation with men, period.
Yep. That is
Period,
the
just
that
to
is the
see where they
nitty-gritty.
are. See where they are. We kind of have a feeling where women are. A lot of women are coming to the kingdom. They're wanting the kingdom. They're wanting the kingdom. They're wanting so much. They're wanting a different thing. So we kind of have a feeling of women with being in the
That's why I
kingdom.
keep telling you,
Men
it's the men. The men, the change has to come from the men, because I feel
have-
the women have always been in church, and I'm sorry, the devil still got us,
Yes.
because women are not the foundation. Women, I'm gonna say again, you are not the foundation. That's why all of us all up in church, we could be getting all this stuff that we're getting. The men are not there. The men are not there. And
Nope.
until they get that in them, whose
Hmm.
they are,
Hmm.
and understand that they are that foundation, it's not going to change.
Not
It's not
who
going to
you
change.
are, but
Who?
whose
Yeah,
you are.
it's not going to change. So
That's
I think that's my at least my take on, yeah, okay, the women are in church. Shall they been in church?
right.
Where are
Hmm.
our men?
Yep.
Why are you guys so afraid of God? Why? Why are
Hmm.
you afraid of following God's direction? What is that about? Why
Yeah.
do you not want to tap into that?
Yeah.
Why are you so far removed and want to stay that way?
Hmm. Well, we can start on that Tuesday. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Because all
Why?
this talking negative about women and we want to be
Mhm.
the man in a relationship, we want to be this and we want to do because
We
you're not
don't.
showing up. But
Yeah.
why are you not showing up?
Mhm.
Why do you want the soft life? Why do you want your woman to make your life so simple that she has all the stress on her shoulders? She is not the foundation.
That's right.
Get that out of your head. I don't care. Oh, I almost said somebody of you, the man with the
Yeah.
skirt on. You're still, seriously, you are
Yeah.
the male.
Yeah.
You
I
are the
said,
male.
do you want to be the woman and we be the men? What? We want to
That's
change the
and
Bible
it's like
around?
that's what they want. They want their cake and eat it too without no accountability, without no responsibility.
Mhm.
But that's not what how this is supposed to go.
No, it's not.
Nope. All right, guys. So Kim, I'm about done for the day.
Yeah. 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 Me too.
Yeah, you guys. I think we'll just come back on Tuesday and maybe have a discussion again about you men. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go in here and start showing up in these churches and taking over? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna continue to leave it up to the women and sit back and suck your thumb and blame us? Anyway,
WUW.
from startup to takeover, we are out, you guys.
Good
Good night.
night.